What does it truly mean to be rich? Is it the size of your bank account, the luxury of your possessions, or the prestige of your social status? These questions have troubled humanity for millennia, but perhaps no philosophical tradition has offered more profound and practical insights than Stoicism. Founded in Athens around 300 BC, Stoicism presents a radical perspective on wealth, a wealth that resonates strongly in our modern age of consumption and social comparison. Stoics did not equate wealth with material abundance or external markers of success. Instead, they saw true wealth as an inner state, a state of self-sufficiency, moderate desires, and inner freedom. It compels us to look beyond the superficial attributes of wealth and consider what truly enriches our lives. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants, said Epictetus, a former slave who became one of Stoicism's most influential teachers. This simple yet profound statement encapsulates the Stoic approach to wealth. It suggests that true wealth comes not from accumulating more, but from needing less. Seneca, another prominent figure in Stoic philosophy, echoed this sentiment when he wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." These words strike at the heart of our modern dilemma, the endless cycle of desire and dissatisfaction that compels us to chase the next big thing, never fully content with what we have. But Stoics did not merely criticize the pursuit of wealth. They offered a constructive alternative. They advocated for a life of virtue, self-discipline, and inner cultivation. The greatest of all wealth is to live content with little, advised Seneca, highlighting self-mastery as the ultimate form of wealth. We must redefine what it means to live a prosperous life. It encourages us to seek fulfillment from within, rather than constantly searching for it in external circumstances. Stoics teach us that true wealth lies in our ability to find contentment in the present moment. In this video, we will explore 5 Stoic approaches to wealth. Part 1. The Stoic perspective on wealth. The Stoics, through their careful observation and life experience, developed a profound understanding of the paradoxical nature of wealth. Their insights challenge our traditional ideas of what it means to be rich, offering an enlightening and liberating perspective. Let's start with Seneca, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers. In one of his letters, he writes, Money does not make you rich. These people have wealth in the same way that we say we have the fever, when in fact the fever has us. This powerful metaphor opens up Seneca's view that wealth often owns people, not the other way around. Seneca observed that many wealthy people in Rome were paradoxically among the poorest in spirit. Money made them obsessed, controlled their schedules, and surrounded them with insincere sycophants. Instead of giving them freedom, their wealth became a burden, enslaving them to constant worry and fear of loss. This idea is echoed in another of Seneca's quotes. It is not he who is poor, who has little, but he who desires more. Here, Seneca points to the greedy nature of desire. No matter how much wealth a man accumulates, he remains spiritually impoverished if he continues to covet more. Epictetus, another prominent in Stoic philosophy, shared this perspective. A former slave who'd won his freedom and become a respected teacher, had a unique insight into the true nature of wealth and freedom. He once told a story about a man who had been offered a lucrative Emperor Augustus, was offered a lucrative position. The man came to Epictetus, bragging about the money and fame he would receive. However, he was not impressed. He responded with penetrating questions about what's really important in life. I told him not to take it up, Epictetus told his students. When the man objected that he would make a lot of money, Epictetus replied, "Yes, for little." The man objected that many people would recognize his name, to which Epictetus asked, if you're going to be around every time someone says your name. When the man said that his name would outlive him, Epictetus said, just like the stone into which you carve your name. Finally, when a man boasted that he would wear a golden crown, Epictetus gave the final blow. And at your funeral they will wear a crown of roses. You'll look even more elegant in it. Through this dialogue, Epictetus demonstrates the fleeting and unsatisfying nature of the external indicators of wealth and success. He urges us to look beyond the superficial benefits and consider the true cost of pursuing of wealth, the sacrifices, compromises, and spiritual poverty that often accompany it. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher-emperor, also had this to say on the subject. We all love ourselves more than we love other people, but we care more for their opinion than for our own. This observation highlights how our perception of wealth is often shaped more by societal expectations and the judgments of others than our own values and sense of fulfillment. The Stoics recognized that true wealth comes from within, from a state of inner freedom, fulfillment, and self-empowerment. As Epictetus said, "He who is rich has no great possessions but little desire." This radical redefinition of wealth shifts our attention from external accumulation to internal cultivation. Moderating our desires, cultivating contentment with what we have, and the development of our inner resources, according to the Stoics, allows us to achieve a wealth that is far more lasting and satisfying than material wealth. These ancient insights challenges our modern ideas of wealth and success. They invite us to consider whether we are enriched by the size of our bank accounts or the amount of stuff we accumulate, or whether we can find a deeper, more lasting form of wealth by mastering ourselves, mortifying our desires, and focusing on what's really important in life. A Stoic view of wealth offers us a path to freedom. Freedom from the endless cycle of desire and dissatisfaction. Freedom from the tyranny of other people's opinions, and freedom to live life according to our deepest values. By embracing this perspective, we discover a form of wealth that no market crash can diminish, collapse, and no thief can steal. Part 2. Definition of personal wealth. Stoics recognized that true wealth is deeply subjective and goes beyond mere financial abundance. Consider for a moment what a rich life means to you. Is it the freedom to travel the world, the ability to spend quality time with loved ones, the chance to engage in meaningful work, or simply the pleasure of a peaceful life, free from financial stress? The answers to these questions will vary greatly from person to person. Some may find wealth in a life filled with adventures and new experiences, while others may see it in the depth of their relationships or the impact of their work. Still, others define wealth as the freedom to live unburdened by excessive possessions or obligations. Stoics say that the richest person is not the one who has a lot, but the one who needs little. This perspective invites us to shift our focus from accumulation to contentment. Instead of constantly striving for more, we can cultivate satisfaction with what we already have. This doesn't mean we should abandon all ambition or desire for improvement. Rather, it encourages us to be mindful of our desires and to distinguish what is truly needed for a fulfilling life from what society tells us to desire. Another prominent Stoic philosopher advised, "Make yourself rich, not by satisfying every whim, but by eliminating them." Consider the difference between a person who constantly needs entertainment, luxury, and approval to feel content, and a person who can find joy in simple pleasures, meaningful work, and their own company. Who in this scenario is truly richer? The Stoic approach to personal wealth also underscores the value of intangible riches, wisdom, virtue, meaningful relationships, and peace of mind, forms of wealth that cannot be measured in monetary terms but are invaluable to a well-lived life. As Epictetus reminds us, He is wise who does not grieve for what he has not, but rejoices for what he has. Part 3. Knowing what is enough. This idea is central to the Stoic approach to living a rich and fulfilling life. Let's start with the ancient and profound statement: if you are not content with what you have, you will not be content with what you get. Stoics understood that the pursuit of wealth, if unchecked, could turn into an endless and unsatisfying chase. No matter how much we accumulate, there will always be something else we want, something else to achieve. But how do we define what is enough? Stoics argued that this is a deeply personal question, requiring honest self-reflection and a clear understanding of our values and needs. For some, enough may mean having sufficient resources to live comfortably and pursue passions. For others, it may be the ability to provide for their families and contribute to their communities. Epictetus offers guidance. He is wise who does not grieve for what he has not, but rejoices for what he has. By focusing on and appreciating what we already have, we can experience a wealth that no additional resources can provide. By cultivating contentment and practicing moderation, we free ourselves from the tyranny of endless desires. We create space in our lives for what truly matters: meaningful relationships, personal growth, contribution to others, and inner peace. By knowing enough, we can also make more intentional choices about how to use our resources. How can we put this wisdom into practice? Here are a few suggestions. First, regularly reflect on what you truly need for a fulfilling life. Distinguish between genuine needs and fleeting wants. Second, practice gratitude daily and take time to appreciate what you already have. Third, before making a purchase or pursuing a new goal, ask yourself, will this enrich my life, or am I just chasing more? Fourth, experiment with simplicity. Try living with less and notice how it impacts your contentment. Fifth, define success on your own terms, based on your values, not societal expectations. Part 4. Practicing poverty. This might sound strange in our modern context, where wealth is often associated with comfort and abundance. However, Stoics understood that intentionally embracing discomfort and deprivation, even temporarily, could lead to profound insights and personal growth. Let's start with Seneca's advice on this practice. Set aside a few days during which you will be content with the most meager and cheapest food, wear rough and simple clothing, saying to yourself at the same time, "This is the state I feared." This exercise is not about glorifying poverty or giving up the necessities of life, but a means of developing resilience, cultivating gratitude, and freeing yourself from the fear of loss that often accompanies material wealth. Wealth, as Seneca wisely observed, wealth is the servant of the wise man and the master of the fool. This powerful statement encompasses the Stoic approach to material possessions. The wise man uses wealth as a tool, not allowing it to control him or define his essence, while the fool becomes a slave to his possessions, constantly fearing their loss. By going through a voluntary experience of poverty, even for a short time, we learn that we can survive and even thrive with far less than we usually consider necessary. This realization can be incredibly liberating. It frees us from anxiety about potential loss and helps us appreciate the abundance in our lives more deeply. Epictetus, who experienced absolute poverty and slavery in his early life, understood this well. He taught, "The greatest of all wealth is to live content with little." By willingly embracing discomfort and deprivation, we develop self-control and resilience. We prove to ourselves that we can handle hardship, which boosts our confidence and sense of personal power. How can we practice this Stoic teaching in modern life? Here are a few suggestions. Declare a week of poverty, where you live on a minimal budget, eat simple food, and avoid unnecessary expenses. Experiment with a capsule wardrobe, limiting yourself to a small number of clothing items for a month. Try a digital poverty practice, limiting your use of technology and entertainment for a set period. Spend a weekend camping or in nature, taking only the bare necessities. Volunteer at a shelter or food bank to gain perspective and cultivate empathy. Remember, the goal is not to romanticize poverty or give up what is necessary, but to gain perspective, develop resilience, and free yourself from the fear and anxiety that often accompanies material wealth. When we engage in this practice, we may find that we need far less than we thought to be happy and fulfilled. We may discover a richness in simplicity that we never knew existed, and we can embody Seneca's ideal, becoming the wise person for whom wealth is a tool, not a master. By practicing poverty, we paradoxically make ourselves truly rich. We gain freedom by knowing we can be content with little, resilience by embracing discomfort voluntarily, and gratitude that arises when we fully appreciate the abundance in our lives. By embracing this Stoic practice, we take a significant step towards redefining wealth on our terms and living a life of true richness and freedom. Part 5. Cultivating Inner Wealth. Stoics understood that true wealth doesn't come from external possessions, but from the development of our character, wisdom, and virtues. Seneca powerfully expressed this idea when he said, "Any man who thinks that what he has is not enough will be unhappy, even if he owns the whole world." This profound statement highlights that contentment and gratitude, not material abundance, are the true markers of wealth. Even someone who possesses everything can be impoverished if they cannot appreciate what they have. Stoics acknowledge that external wealth, while it might be useful, could also be treacherous. Seneca cautioned us, "Sow away with all those deceitful goods. They look better to those who hope for them than to those who have attained them." This understanding reminds us that the pursuit of material wealth often promises more fulfillment than it actually delivers. The anticipation of wealth can be more alluring than the reality of possessing it. Instead of focusing on external riches, Stoics advocated for cultivating internal wealth through the development of virtues. The 4 cardinal virtues of Stoicism, wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance, form the bedrock of this inner wealth. Wisdom in the Stoic sense is about understanding what is truly valuable in life. It's the ability to discern what we can control and what we cannot, and to focus our efforts on the former. Justice is about living in harmony with others and contributing to the common good. It's recognizing our interconnectedness and acting with fairness and honesty. Courage is not merely the ability to withstand physical dangers, but the courage to live in accordance with our principles, even when it's difficult, choosing what is right over what is easy or popular. Temperance is about restraint and self-control. It's the ability to regulate our desires and emotions, finding the golden mean between excess and deficiency. By developing these virtues, we build a form of wealth that belongs to us, unlike material possessions, which can be lost or taken away. Our internal qualities remain with us no matter what external circumstances we encounter. However, Stoics also recognize the alluring power of external goods. A Stoic philosopher cautioned, "Any external good, the applause of the crowd, high office, wealth, or sensual pleasure, can all appear to be compatible with him for a time, but suddenly they take us in their grip and carry us away." This warning reminds us that if we're not careful, external goods can seize control of our lives, distracting us from what truly matters and eroding our internal wealth. By cultivating inner wealth, we free ourselves from the endless pursuit of external validation and material accumulation. We unlock a form of richness that is enduring, satisfying, and wholly within our control. Stoicism teaches that true wealth comes from the ability to control our own reactions and perspectives, not from external circumstances or possessions.